Welcome back. Let's answer more of your questions right now with Megan.
Our next question says, I won't tell you how much my wife and I enjoy your show because I want to spare you the expense of having to buy new hats because your head gets too big. So I'll get right to my question. You've said several times that it's good to have a financial advisor who is a fiduciary, defined as someone who is obligated to look out for the investor's best interests. But how can one determine if an advisor is indeed a fiduciary? Can anyone just claim to be a fiduciary? Is it the honor system, or does an advisor need to be certified as a fiduciary? In short, how can an investor determine if someone who claims to be a fiduciary actually is one? Thanks, Gene, and hang on to those hats.
Well, in the future, when you start out so very well, you don't have to jump right to your question. You can go on and on with how really great the show really is. That's okay. Seriously, this is a challenging question, and I can't wait to hear what my young associate John has to say, because I'm fairly certain he'll have a couple pithy comments, and then it's going to be back on my shoulders. So John, somebody's interviewing a financial advisor, and the advisor says, and I'm a fiduciary. How do they know it's true or not?
Well, there's a couple different aspects there where you can actually do some background and check with various websites, one of them being the SEC's website, the Securities Exchange Commission website. But you can ask them for their disclosures. And in their documents that they are required to give you, there are certain forms that would outline their services offered, and it should say that they are a fiduciary if they're claiming to be. So that's a great question to ask. And then they should also be a registered investment advisor, meaning they have to pass a certain series of tests or exams to actually be licensed to be a registered investment advisor. So those are a couple of things that you could check, but I would also just want to talk to that advisor and get a feel for their firm and see if you really think that they are acting in your best interest and their client's best interest, which you can usually tell after meeting with them for 30, 45 minutes, 60 minutes. That would be a good place to start, Gene.
Oh, it's actually an outstanding place to start. John has given you a number of different things that you can do that give you very verifiable indicators one way or another. The SEC website, broker check, licensing, registered investment advisor. John, you are absolutely correct. The other thing that John mentioned that a lot of folks don't pay attention to, and they really should, when you are speaking with an advisor, a true advisor, they will give you initially typically a packet. And in that packet, it'll tell a lot about the company and how they conduct themselves and their business. And it's going to be glowing about how great they are. Ours is amazing about the perfection of our services. I know because I wrote it. In addition to that, though, we must, by law, if we are fiduciary, we must by law give you disclosures. John is absolutely right. They have odd names, ADVs, etc. Lots of initials. But they outline how a company works. And if you actually take the time to read them, you may discover that in their own paperwork, they reveal they're not fiduciaries. And if they don't give you any disclosures at all, they are definitely not fiduciaries. So their very actions can demonstrate to you whether they are or are not. In addition, the types of investments that they discuss with you might very well give you some indication of whether they are or are not. For example, Ken Fisher is very prominent, very famous, very large financial advisory firm. It claims to be a fiduciary and is not. He has said without a doubt, I will never sell an annuity to a client. Well, what if it's in the best interest of the client? He says he won't do it. So you can't be a fiduciary if you have foursquare said, I will never do something that's in the best interest of my client. And conversely, if they are a salesman and all they want to talk about is either their life insurance or their annuity sales for you, everybody needs an annuity, that's a red flag instantaneously. They're not a fiduciary. So yes, John gave you a great checklist. If you're not sure exactly how to apply it, make sure you reach back out to us.